Can you really create a stunning, vintage-inspired Christmas home without spending a fortune? Let's find out. Come decorate with us. We're transforming my home into a cozy, vintage-inspired wonderland, but we've got a $100 budget cap.
Yep, everything you see, from the garlands to the ornaments, my mom and I will be thrifting, DIY, or using things she already has on hand.
We're decorating from the front porch to the bathroom and everything in between. We're going to start at my very favorite place, and that's the Christmas tree. One of the most important things to make your tree look great is to make sure you fluff it. And I like to do mine in sections.
One thing that we really love about our trees is that it lights up with each section that you install. This is a King of Christmas tree, and it's all wired together through the pole, and it's just awesome. And I'm sorry for my wretched voice, you guys. I got sick, and we still just have to keep moving forward. Gotta get decorated.
I like to start decorating my tree with my largest ornaments first, and that is going to be these DIY bells that we made in a video, a couple videos ago.
If you missed that video, go check it out after you're done watching this one. I think you're gonna really enjoy it, and you'll just be so inspired with all the different things you can make your own bells with.
Please tell me I'm not the only one whose house looks like a tornado hit it when you start pulling out those Christmas bins. The next ornament we're going to add are these pretty dusty pink flocked ornaments, and I fell in love with these when we were out shopping one day at home, and they match perfectly with the pillows that are on my sofa, so I was excited to find them. And I only spent $23.47 for 3 boxes of ornaments.
And like we did with the bells, we're gonna just tie these velvet ornaments onto the tree using ribbon. It's just going to be a little bit more elegant, and big droopy bows are in right now, so it's just going to be really pretty.
I really wanted my tree to feel kind of feminine, and so we're going to add teacups to the Christmas tree, and we're just going to tie them on with some ribbon. And these are teacups that I thrifted when we did our garden tea party video. So you can check that out too.
Let's be real here. Have you ever seen a Christmas tree with teacups on it before? I surely had not, but I do think it's super fun. When it all comes together, it's just really fun theme.
It's pretty.
Yeah, and just, again, the feminine, too bad. Well, not too bad, but good thing Dad doesn't really care. He's supportive of all your decorating.
That is so true.
Because it's pretty feminine and it's pretty.
Next, we're going to add some icy ball picks that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. And of course, I got them on clearance. You know, you got to do those sales at the end of the season. And Steph is going to add some pretty glittered snowflakes to the tree.
One of our favorite ways to get Christmas decor in general, not even just for the tree, is to shop after season, right? Like Hobby Lobby is one of our favorite places. One year we got about $200 worth of ornaments for just $20. Everything was 90% off. So you seriously cannot beat that. And even then, like right now, November, Christmas is already half off at Hobby Lobby. So it's still a great way to shop.
The next ornament we're going to put on the tree reminds me so much of my grandma. And as a family, we went to my grandma's house every Sunday night. And in December, it was just so magical with her tree lit up, and she loved to sing Christmas carols around the tree. And so I just looked forward to that every December. But this reminds me of her because of the cameo. She always wore a cameo.
Yep, every time I ever saw her, she always had her little cameo. She was very properly dressed.
She was. She really was.
But she wanted to be hip and in style. Even in her old age.
She did. But she always had a cameo on right up here.
Yep.
So these are not her cameos, but this reminds me of her. We made these pretty ornaments a few years back, and we do have a video for it, and I will put the link in the description for you. Next, we're going to add these fun little candles. I picked these up on Amazon 3 or 4 years ago, and I just love them. They kind of adjust on the tree so you can make sure that they're straight, and they do come with a remote control. So I just hit the remote when I want to turn them on my candle, on my tree.
Well, and the thing I love about them is you get like that old world feel with just having candles on the tree, and it does actually add more light to the tree, but you don't have the fire hazard. They're just awesome.
That's right. And you can turn off the Christmas tree lights and just have the candles on at night, and it's so pretty.
Yeah, that's a fun look too.
For the tree topper, I made a bow with some gold wired ribbon, and I'm just kind of shaping that around the tree. I did find that I needed to make a second bow to go on the back side because I wanted to stick some gold glittery picks up in the top of the tree, and in order to get them to stay, I needed a little bit more support. But I have found on Amazon, and I will link it in the description, there's a little gizmo that you can kind of secure to the top of your Christmas tree when you want to add a fun topper like this. So next year I'm going to have one.
Do you guys have any good tricks up your sleeves to get those toppers to stay in place? Let us know.
The last item we're going to put on the tree is we're just going to take some more of these glittery picks that we put on the topper, and we're just going to put them randomly around the tree to kind of just spread that pretty gold glittery color. And for the tree skirt, we're actually going to use this crocheted tablecloth that I have. I'm not quite sure where I got this from. It's not one that my grandma made, but it's really pretty, and it will make the perfect skirt to fit in with my vintage theme.
Now we're going to add a little bit more greenery over in the entryway above the mirror, and we're going to use some command hooks to hold this into place. We love using these things because they don't damage your walls and the garland actually stays put. And we're also adding some of our DIY bells we made from that video we told you about, so go check that one out.
And to finish it off, I just made a simple bow with that same wired ribbon that we used on the tree and place it over the bells. The ribbon is from Sam's Club, and you get 50 yards for only $8.98. We'll finish up the entry area here with a piece of art of the Nativity, and this is by the artist Walter Rains. I just really love this piece. And then I'm going to add in a crocheted table runner, and then I'm going to bring in a small tree that I picked up at the craft store, and I placed it inside a thrifted silver plate bowl. And I've also wrapped that tree, the bottom of the tree, in a vintage napkin and tied it with a green velvet ribbon. And to finish off this side of the chest, I'm just going to add in a little nativity and then some greenery on the left side by the lamp. And then I've got an old hymnal that I'm going to open up to the cradle song. Now we're ready to style the coffee table. I'm just going to bring in a couple of books for some height, a vase that I usually keep on this coffee table, and then I'm going to bring in some Norfolk pine stems that just look so lifelike. I love these, and I will link them in the description if you're interested in those. I did pick them up on Amazon. Then I'm going to bring in a footed bowl that I picked up at the thrift store, filled it with some greens, and then some pine cones that we did some frosted look on them, and some cinnamon sticks. And then finally we're going to add the thrifted close from our Christmas thrifting video. And I remember I wanted to add in my grandma's nativity, but it wouldn't fit. But I did find a little nativity that fit in here perfectly.
Next, we're going to get the top of the piano decorated, and we're starting with these fun glass trees that we made in our last thrifting video. Then we're going to just bring in some greens to just spruce it up a little bit, make it a little bit more festive. And these are just some green picks we got from Hobby Lobby years ago. They still do carry this kind, and we love them. They're a cedar, and they just look so real and feel kind of lifelike as well. And we had to bring a tree over to this side as well. And my mom found this years ago in the dollar spot at Target. So always keep your eyes out at different places like that, because you never know what's going to be there. And sometimes they have some really cute things for dirt cheap.
And I'm just going to bring in one more little nativity set to place over here on my cabinet by the window. And then I'm going to add another fen bow to my lamp. I'm just adding bows to everything this year. I just love it. And I know I get a little carried away with Christmas, but you know what? My mirrors needed a little Christmas cheer too. So I'm going to add a swag to the top of them and then just bring in another bow. We're going to clear the chairs out of the family room so we can start getting Christmas up in here. We're going to start with the mantle, and we've already installed some command cord keepers, and I love these for attaching the garland to the mantle. It just does a really good job of keeping it snugly in place while you can still conceal it with the garland. In keeping with my vintage-inspired Christmas, I'm going to now string some different elements onto the garland. This is a little mercury glass garland that I just made by taking some little ornaments and attaching them to a chain. And I'm just going to hook those to the two sides of my garland. Next, I'm going to add some chandelier crystals. Now, I have collected these over the years from old chandeliers. I picked them up at garage sales, and I've just wired them together. And I'm going to create a little garland that I'm going to kind of swoop across my pine garland here. And it's just going to create a little bit of shimmer when the lights are on it, and it's just going to add that little bit of elegance to my mantle. And to bring it a little color, I'm going to add a pretty bow on the end of the mantle. I'm making this with some vintage lace that I picked up at a thrift store. And then also I've got some blue velvet ribbon here, and I picked up this last year on Amazon.
Now we're going to add some old books to create some varying heights, and we're going to cover them with some handmade doilies from my great-grandma. And we're going to put some silver-plated pitchers and teapots up here just to kind of make it feel a little bit nostalgic, and I think it's really pretty. And to make them feel a little bit more festive, we're just going to add some of this faux greenery in here. And I love these because they look so realistic, and they're actually soft to the touch too.
And most important, this covers my Roku stick, which I hate that it shows. And to make the stockings a little more festive, I've also added some vintage lace that I picked up at a thrift store. I've attached it with some of Grandma's brooches. The final item I'm going to add is just some dried orange slices to add in that little bit of vintage flair.
Command strips are a lifesaver at Christmas.
Absolutely.
No more garland falling down.
We're going to bring in a pair of slim trees over here in the corner by the fireplace. And we've got one we're going to put in a tree collar, and the second one I had my husband make a box that we could stand the tree on so I could get a little height. I keep my trees stored down in the basement, just covered with an old fitted sheet, and I just find it a great way to store them because I don't have to do quite as much fluffing when it comes time to put them up. The first ornament we're going to put on these two trees are some little pine cones that we frosted. We picked up these pine cones after the season, and we got an entire case of pine cones for $1 at Michael's. So you gotta always look for those deals. I did frost them with some Snow-Tex, and it was super easy to do. Took me less than an hour to do 50 pine cones, and then we just added a ribbon so we could tie them to the tree. When I think of a vintage Christmas, I think of my grandma, and this ornament has her on it. Of Christmases at her house were just so special. I loved sitting around her tree, singing Christmas carols with the glow of the Christmas tree.
And I love these ornaments. It just makes Christmas that much more meaningful to see all the different family members on the trees, from those who have passed on, and also we have some like from when my kids were babies, so it's just fun to look at. And we made these several years ago. They're super easy to do, so we do have a video on that if you want to learn how to make them yourself. Just check the description box below.
These little ornaments remind me of when I got my first ice skates. I was 5 years old, and for a Christmas present, I got ice skates, and then I had this cute sweater that went with it. And I just remember that Christmas so vividly, and I love taking ice skating lessons.
Now we're just gonna add some bows to the tree. We're just very into the big droopy bows this year, and my mom picked up this really pretty velvet ribbon on Amazon a couple years ago. But this is really like the easiest way to switch up the look or color scheme of your tree is just by switching out ribbons or bows. Super easy to do, and it really makes a big impact.
I love where I live. Can you see the deer out in my backyard? I loved when Steph added the dried orange slices to my fall decor, and so I thought it would be really fun and pretty to add them to my Christmas tree this year, and to me it feels very vintagey. Next, we're going to add these Victorian-inspired little Christmas icicles. They made theirs out of silver. Mine are made out of aluminum wire, but they are super easy to make. I just take a piece of aluminum flat wire, put it in the drill, and then I'm going to grab the other end with my locking pliers and just hold it still on the one end and then turn the drill slowly. And in just a matter of seconds, you have a pretty spun icicle, and they look so pretty hanging on the tree.
And I love that they kind of mimic that tinsel that you would find on trees back in the day, but without the mess. So it gives that little reflection, and it really does create that same look as the tinsel, but it's just not messy. So I think it's a really fun idea.
And you can use it year after year after year. This will hold up forever. To add a little more sparkle to the tree, I have some glittery magnolia leaves that I picked up years ago at a store that's no longer even in business here, but it just adds that little bit of shimmer and shine to the Christmas tree, and it looks so magical. For the tree topper, I'm going to add a traditional star, only I made these stars out of some sisal trees, gluing 5 together, and then I added just a little brooch in the center for a little bling. I had some leftover trees, so I made some smaller version of the stars and also added those around the tree. Okay, I have a love-hate relationship with phlox.
Same. It's pretty, but it's messy.
It is.
Clean me up. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Such a personal space.
Turn around, I was going to get your backside.
Do you guys like flocked trees, or you stay away from the mess?
I'm also going to add some little crystals that I picked up at the thrift store. They were on a candlestick that we used for our glass Christmas trees, and I wanted to make sure I added those to the trees. I thought they would be really pretty and reflect the pretty Christmas lights. One of the final ornaments I want to put on the tree are these ornaments that I made with just some old door plates that I found at a antique store, and then these are my grandma's brooches, and she loved to wear her brooches. So I'm going to place a few of these on the tree.
Now we're going to move on to the railing, and we are going to drape a 15-foot garland over this. And this is a lifelike Norfolk pine garland, and it just really looks so pretty. It looks so real, and it's soft to the touch. My mom found it on Amazon last year, so we'll be sure to link that for you. But doesn't that just look so pretty already? But we are going to spruce it up to match the mantle a little bit.
Now on to the coffee table. We're just going to keep it simple here. A lot of this is the same basic decor I keep up year round, only we're going to add in some of these pretty Norfolk pine stems, and I did get a second batch of those this year off of Amazon, so I'll be sure to link those because I think they're so pretty and realistic. We're also going to add the candle that we made in our Christmas thrifting video and just put them on a stack of Christmas books. I love to keep an assortment of pillow covers for the different seasons, and it just makes it so much easier to store than a bunch of pillows. I did pick up this Santa print from Hobby Lobby. I just thought he was so cute, so that is one of my purchases for the year.
And he's blue. It matches her space. And
I couldn't resist. He's so cute.
looking.
And he was only $17.49 because Christmas was half off. I picked up these little dishes at the thrift store to place my trees in, and whoops, my tree is too big for it. I had to go back to my bin and find something smaller.
And for this shelf, we're going to add a little bit of Christmas artwork. We just took a frame that is normally framed out with something else, but we swapped it out and just put a piece of festive scrapbook paper in there. And it was an easy, cheap way to make some pretty art. Then we're putting my grandma's picture of her on Santa's lap when she was a little girl. I just think it's so adorable. And this was also her little suitcase that she just kept all her little trinkets and treasures in. So it's just a special little shelf that helps us remember my grandma.
And to make the family room feel a little more cozy during the winter season, and it matches my blue theme, we're going to bring in these blue chairs from the other room. All right, now we're going to get the kitchen decorated, and I do have these open shelves at the far end of my kitchen, and we're going to just use stuff that I already have on hand here, so we're not spending a penny. One thing I really love on these shelves is that little cordless lamp. I picked it up at Walmart. It's just a little rechargeable thing. It was super inexpensive, and I picked it up about a year ago. I will link it if it's still available. I'm just adding more of that pretty blue velvet ribbon. And a simple way to add some greenery over here by the side of my range is just to take a little greenery pick and tuck it in with my utensils. And the little shelf that is above my range, I like to add a little greenery at Christmas time, but this year I'm also going to tuck in some of those little dried orange slices to carry that color theme throughout my home. And also to kind of integrate the faux stems, I've got some dried eucalyptus, seeded eucalyptus that I'm going to tuck in there too, and it's just really going to add to that area. Once again, we're going to use small command hooks to hang these wreaths on the cabinets. I wanted to add a wreath to the front of this mirror that I hang in my kitchen, and I'm just going to use some packing tape to tape the ribbon to the back side of the frame.
Okay, you guys, I am dying over these little gingerbread cookies. My mom found these on an Etsy shop a few years back, and they look so real. You just can't eat it. And look at the cute little Santa cup of cocoa. That all came together as a set, so we will be sure to link that. But I just think it adds a cozy little touch to this little vignette on her kitchen island. This painting is one of my mom's favorites. Her sister actually painted this several years ago. In fact, she used to use us kids as models when we were growing up, so we kind of felt famous, I don't know. But she's just super talented, and it's just a fun, nostalgic print because we've had it in our homes throughout the years, all these Christmases.
I first created this little topiary in the spring, and I just used a soup tureen for my container, and I used spring and summer foliage to create that. And then for fall, I added some fall leaves, and I thought it would be super fun to do it again for Christmas. And this time I just took those Norfolk pine stems that I had and just kind of pulled them apart and then just inserted them into the wreath.
We're going to style the dining room table with this beautiful tray that we thrifted and made over in our last Christmas thrift video. These brass candlesticks are also thrifted through the years, and to top it off, we're going to be putting in some of my great grandma's beautiful ornaments that just bring back all those memories, and you can thrift those if you're super lucky, right?
Yes,
super lucky.
They're collectibles
They
now,
really
so
are.
you might find them in an antique store.
Yeah, not so much thrifting.
For the place setting, we're going to use this sheet music, and we use this in our fall tablescape video if you want to go check that out. And I thought it would be super fun because it looks and matches or goes with these plates I found at a yard sale a few years back that say fa la 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 la. right, now on to the bathroom. I have to have my guest bathroom looking pretty for all my holiday guests. So this year I actually decided to purchase a shower curtain, and I went to Home Goods and they had so many to choose from, but I chose this one. It is the 12 Days of Christmas, and it just has a real vintage look to it to me, and it's also bringing in the traditional red and green, and so I really loved it. When Steph added some fall decor to my home, one of the things she did was add some tissue paper covered toilet paper rolls in my bathroom, and I loved it and said I was going to do it for Christmas. So I found this tissue paper on Amazon, and you'll notice when we set it in the bathroom, it matches my shower curtain beautifully. I mean, it just ties everything together so well. I just love it. So is this something you would add into your home?
A super easy way to make your bathroom feel festive is just putting in some red towels. I mean, you could do this with green as well. And then we're going to add in some of these faux bells that we made. And just these simple little changes make it feel that much more happy and festive. And if you have space, you can always add some Christmas artwork as well.
And to add to the pretty flocked garland, I'm just going to string some more of these faux brass bells that we made. When I'm placing greenery or tree in my home, I love using pots and dishes and different things like that just to make them look a little prettier. And to kind of make the top of it look prettier, I'm taking some little doilies that I got from my mother-in-law when she was cleaning out her home, and I'm just folding them into fourths and kind of tucking them around the base of the Christmas tree. And I think it looks really pretty and feminine. And a simple and quick way to update your tissue box is to just cover it with wrapping paper. I just used the same wrapping paper that I wrapped a piece of art in my family room with, and now it looks pretty and festive. And then to cover the base of the tree in that container, I'm also taking some more of those chandelier crystals, and I'm just tossing them around the base to cover the styrofoam. And it's gonna look just like little ice chunks or little icicles. And we can't forget to decorate the front porch for Christmas. Of course, this is the place that's going to greet all of your visitors, your neighbors who walk by. And while my front porch is pretty small, there is just enough room for a pencil tree. So we're going to add that. I just think it really makes a statement there on my small front porch. And I'm going to decorate this tree with stuff that I already have on hand. This ribbon that I formed into a bow, I picked up at Hobby Lobby years ago, again on the end of season clearance sale. I think I paid $1 or $2 for it. It was not very much, and it's velvet and wired, and it looks so pretty as a tree topper. I'm going to use ornaments that I already have, and to make a really big impact on this tree, I'm going to attach this joy sign. It's just a little marquee sign that I picked up years ago at Michael's, and it has some little holes on the back for attaching it to the wall. But I've got wire on the back side of one side of the J, and then I'm going to wrap the wire around the back of the tree and hook it through the little hole on the Y. And that's going to keep it in place on my tree all season long. And it's got a little switch on it that I can turn on the lights when it gets dark. To make a big impact on this tree, I'm going to take 3 red ornaments and I'm going to just wire them together, and then I'm going to just attach them to the tree with the wire. And that's going to give a little more of a wow factor from the street so that they'll really stand out. And a little tip here, if you're working on wiring ornaments together, use the plastic ones. I broke 3 glass ornaments trying to get them wired together. I had to go back in the basement and find my plastic ornaments to do this with.
Okay, and I am loving these ginormous or oversized ornaments on a small tree. Have you guys ever done that before? It just really makes a big impact, especially where this is on the front porch, and so it's the people walking their dogs or the cars passing by. They're really gonna notice this tree.
And for the tree skirt, I'm just going to use this fun red and green plaid throw that I picked up. It was in the dollar spot at Target. I think I paid $3 or $5 for it, but that was many years ago. And can you believe that this Santa was a thrift store find? I found him in the summer and I knew he would be perfect on my front porch. And to complete the look on the front porch, we're just going to add in a garland. I've had this one for years. It's getting a little thin, and so I'm actually going to add in some evergreen stems to it to kind of fill it in a little bit so it looks a little fuller and prettier. And once that gets into place, we're just going to add some red bows to the garland and then some more of the red Christmas balls. We've just wired together 3 of them again to give it a little bit more impact, and then my porch is finished. Here's another look at my home fully decorated on a vintage-inspired Christmas. We hope that you have enjoyed these ideas, and just for your information, I was able to spend $92.92 for new decor that I added to my existing decor and thrifted items, and I think that's pretty amazing. This is what it's all about. Being together just like at Grandma's house. Only now it's our turn to make the memories. This ornament that we have on the tree has to be one of my favorites. I remember this picture sitting at my grandma's house. She would put it out every Christmas of my mom sitting on Santa's lap.
Don't you guys just love the way my parents' home is? It's just so beautiful, and mine's not decorated yet, and I'm living in construction zone, so I want to just come here and soak it all in.
It is kind of peaceful, isn't it?
It really is.
I mean, I've been turning on the lights and just soaking in all the magic because it just makes me feel happy and good, so I love it. So do you have a favorite decorating element that we added to my home, or just one of our ideas that you just love, that you want to try? We'd love to hear from you.
And be sure to check out all the other Christmas videos on our channel. We have years and years worth of them, so go find them. We'll link them down below as well. And then, if I can keep getting myself better, we will decorate for my house, and that will be our next video. So stay tuned for that, and we wish you a very Merry Christmas.
And YouTube thinks you'll love this video next.